Let's talk about what a run chart is and how, when, and why we use run charts in healthcare quality improvement. In clinical care, counting a patient's heart rate gives me important information about how they are doing at one moment in time. However, if I want to learn a little more about their heart, using an electrocardiogram gives me a different level of understanding. It helps me graphically visualize and identify patterns and monitor changes over time. A run chart is a quality improvement tool that is a line graph showing data points plotted in the order in which they occur. A run chart is quite helpful in identifying patterns that occur over time. It helps one graphically visualize trends, figure out if there are non-random patterns, identify improvement or decline in performance, and monitor progress when changes are implemented. Creating a run chart is pretty straightforward. First, determine the purpose of the chart and the quality measure that you plan to monitor. This typically goes on the y-axis. Then select the time interval for data collection, for example, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. This typically goes on the x-axis. Next, collect and plot your data. Then annotate your improvement interventions directly on the run chart. This will help you identify which changes made the greatest difference. Add a title to the chart, and if not easily evident, indicate which direction is better with an up or down arrow. Let us now look at an example of a real-life run chart. This one is rather famous and is the story of Semmelweis, a Hungarian physician. Semmelweis, back in 1846, observed that washing hands with a solution of chlorinated lime could drastically reduce rates of maternal death from postpartum sepsis, which was called childbed fever back then, in maternity wards. His findings were not very well taken by his fellow physicians. Semmelweis was ridiculed and ignored, and ultimately lost his job. He died at age 47 in a mental hospital, ironically from sepsis. As part of his quest to understand why maternal mortality rates in hospitals then were so high, Semmelweis collected data in 2 maternity wards at the General Hospital in Vienna. The first ward, where mortality rates are shown in blue, was staffed by male doctors and medical students. And the second ward, where mortality rates are shown in orange, starting around 1841, was staffed by female midwives. Semmelweis found that the death rate from postpartum sepsis in the wards staffed by physicians was 5 times higher than in the wards staffed by midwives. The main difference between the 2 wards was that physicians, in addition to working in the maternity ward, also conducted autopsies, while the midwives did not. When medical staff started cleansing their hands and instruments with a chlorine solution, the rate of deaths from maternal postpartum sepsis fell dramatically. However, this practice did not spread as one might think. Physicians were quite upset because these findings made it look like physicians were giving people sepsis. Eventually, Semmelweis lost his job, and the use of chlorine hand washing was abandoned in his hospital. Using Semmelweis's unfortunate story, let me show you some common techniques used to interpret run charts. First, I created a run chart using Semmelweis's data with time points on the x-axis and maternal death rates from sepsis on the y-axis. I then drew a horizontal line showing the median maternal death rate from sepsis in his dataset. Here are some signals to note on run charts that can help us identify non-random patterns. One signal is 6 points in a row that steadily increase or decrease, shown circled in green. Another signal to look for is 9 points in a row that are on the same side of the median. Other patterns one could see in run charts are significant shifts in levels, cyclical patterns, or bunching of data points. So as you see, a run chart is a simple visual quality improvement tool that is easy to create and maintain. Making and using a run chart does not require in-depth statistical training and lets us display data in a straightforward and easy to understand way.